Out onto the podium piece here. Along with the referees. And it's another interesting one. Athletes that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily expect, having seen the rankings. So it's the Italian Gianna Cirello from Italy up against Jeanette Starks-Faulkner from the USA, who took out the number 2 seed on her way here.
These two are far from being the first 2 seeds. What I was going to say is a lot of the top East Europeans lived such a controlled, really professional life, even though they were amateurs, when they were fencing for world and Olympic medals, that after their time in the national team was over, there's nothing they wanted more than to give up fencing, because it hadn't been a pleasure for them. And I wish the British won more medals over the years, but for most of us it was a hobby. It took up a huge amount of our time. But what you'll find is there are very few, normally fewer than half a dozen, fencers who represented their country and their 20s, say, who go on to be veterans. Because they'd had enough. The pressure of trying to get into the World or Olympic teams was so great that the pleasure they had in the sport disappeared. I've got 2 people who are trying to get into the American team where I live in New York that I train. One of them reached the top 6 in a national competition, and he then said, "I'm coming to your flat, Richard. I've decided to give it up. I'm no longer finding it fun."
There has to be something inside you, if at any level though, that you want to compete and in inverted commas take it seriously. But what I mean is it becomes part of your DNA at all levels. But look, it's time to talk about another gold medal match here, and as you hinted, these are 2 athletes that perhaps we wouldn't expect here. The French fencer Véronique Glaser-Carretta, she looked so strong today.
I thought both semi-finals were, both these 2 fenced brilliant tactical semi-finals.
Yeah, it was a 9-8 win for Cirillo, and Starks-Faulkner, well, she absolutely destroyed Tanaka, who was looking very strong herself. So this for the gold in the category B women's foil tournament. Athletes aged between the age of 60 and 69. Yes, these 2 athletes have aged between 60 and 69. You just would not, you wouldn't think it. Lovely action there. The change of direction from Starks-Faulkner, phenomenal.
Yeah, and then a lovely en marchant attack.
Classic style from the Italian fencer. Great footwork. Sits down very deeply as well.
Yeah, they both got good long guard positions.
Try and tease out that cart parry is Starks-Faulkner.
Cirillo trying to find the right moment to do a stop it or a counter attack. Not quite got it there. Very, very nice counter pass by the Italian.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because whilst you have to say that Starks-Faulkner perhaps has the better and the more explosive attack, and she's being more creative, the distance is working for the Italian at the moment.
And that time she got the stop it she was looking for.
So if anything, there is a bit of a ding-dong battle going on here. One's got the distance advantage and the other one's being a bit more creative.
Incidentally, people may be a bit surprised at the colour of Cirillo's electric jacket. I'm not sure what the rule is on that.
Can't say I've seen a red lame jacket at senior level. You certainly see them at junior level, but certainly at senior level I don't think I've seen.
And the other thing that's come in, in the last 10 years, is people having their national colours on their masks.
Yep. And that has to be done through the official process as well. You can't just have any pattern. It has to be ratified by the International Fencing Federation. And I believe another development that's in the offing, it's not definitely been confirmed, is that we're going to start seeing that on breeches as well. So instead of just USA or Italia, you have to actually start seeing flags on the legs.
So you can't put a picture of your pet cat on your mask?
Not if you want to fence in a world level competition, no. Not at the moment.
Cassis.
Although I have seen people with the Spider-Man mask on, and it's to make kids more attracted to the sport. The manufacturers are having these little inventions. It's a nice thing, and it's not banned at any level apart from world level. But here's a little secret for you. So I've just said that the masks have to go through a special process with the FIE. The pattern has to be agreed, and there's just one pattern. Somehow the Americans have got two. If you watch at senior level, the foilists have one pattern and the sabreurs have another. Not been spotted yet.
Very interesting. Well spotted by you. This match is really about distance. They're both playing with distance for the particular moves they want to make. And in that way, it's really interesting because they're both trying to get different sense of distance. Now, what was Cirillo? Why did she get a yellow card?
There was a card there for some reason, and again, I think maybe we didn't hear what was said, because there certainly wasn't anything obvious with the hand, the backhand at least. There you go, covering.
Yeah.
Getting in close quarters and covering, and again, here you see Starks Faulkner calling for that. And what will the assistant call here?
Because you're not allowed to use your back arm to put it in front of your legitimate target.
Well, time actually runs out in favour there, and the referee deciding that whatever happened, it was time that actually finished the match and not covering. I would say that there was a tiny bit of covering before time ran out, but...
Yeah, I think Cirillo was lucky. The Italian team, of course, are... the veterans do well enough, but at world and Olympic level, the Italian women foilists have had one of the best records of any team at any weapon over a period of, goodness, 12 to 15 years.
Yeah, at least that. It goes back a long, long way. And they've been at the forefront of the how the weapons fenced as well, the Italians, because they have such a cohort, depth in their foilers. They can dictate it. And a few years back, it was a very cagey and counter-attacky kind of sport. But then a couple of the more the athletes climbing up the rankings from Italy started to open the sport up, and now it looks a lot more like
some of the young Italian fencers haven't quite got the big personalities of their forebears. There's one Italian woman fencer whose name I better not say, who was at daggers drawn with a Russian fencer, both champions. The Russian fencer said, "Drop dead," as he got onto piece, and the Italian just turned and said, "You drop dead first."
Yes, you definitely shouldn't say names. No, but there's still that great deal of combat between the top fencers at senior level of Russia and Italy at women's for, Deva Glatsova at the moment is peaking that one. Makes for an interesting ride into Tokyo for all the fencers out there. But the Americans also doing a great job here, as is Starks Faulkner. And particularly Lee Kiefer up there, been in the top 3-4 in the world for the last 4 or 5 years, and is one of, I'd say, the best at changing attack into defence across the board.
Defence into attack.
And attack to defence. She can change her tactics both ways around. She's you can watch her fence in one fight and she's being completely defensive. In another fight she'll be completely aggressive, and in the next fight she'll mix the two together, and you just don't know what you're going to do against her.
But you're quite right about the major fencing nations videoing their main competitors and using it for training.
see what you're up to. And they video themselves as well to analyse, you know, your cart parry isn't quite good enough. Your distance trap is not working because you're stepping in too deeply, or you know, they're really getting into the sort of high level of technology. And as
see the distance, Starks Faulkner knew that Cirillo was looking to do a stop it counter-attack, and so she did a simple attack and got the right of way.
So a bit of second intention's got to come in here. Well, in fact, it's Cirillo who starts to come out using an octave beat to establish the right of way, and then actually using a little bit of strength, pure strength, to drive it through.
Maybe I thought it was counter time actually, that she was looking for the counter attack.
Look on, and Cirillo's being forced to change the tactics here and be just that little bit more aggressive. She is trying to find the blade, but her problem is as she's closing the distance, she's not going for the target. And when she turns away like that, it's playing into the game of the American.
Well, the American's got such a fast attack. Cirillo wants to come forward to stop the American attacking. Yeah. And she's tried her stockets, and the American has worked out what she's trying to do. Yep.
And trying to force that octave closing action through. I think I kind of half agree with you. She's stepping into that distance to try and draw something from the American, and then trying to find this this octave parry riposte.
I mean, so much in all the weapons is getting your opponent to commit themselves and then taking advantage of it.
The trickery of fencing is key. Cirillo had the right of way there for me, just dropped her point out of the way, and Starks Faulkner so quickly closed the distance there was no way Cirillo could get her blade up.
I think Cirillo was coming forward trying to do another counter time action. And again, Starks Faulkner was going one piece of thinking ahead.
Yes, I agree with you, but I think at the moment it was a perfect time for Starks Faulkner to step in, because she just stole the right of way away from her because the taller fencer couldn't get her weapon up. It's great. It's a great little match. This is a really interesting, intriguing battle. In some respects, it's switched from a distance game to a game of who's prepared to think, as you say, one step ahead.
Beautiful. I mean, Starks Faulkner's blade work is a bit faster than Cirillo's, surprisingly.
One or two more from Cirillo, though, and we've got the contest back on. The thing, though, is Starks Faulkner has the clock with her now. Inside 50 seconds to go. As that clock ticks down, Cirillo is going to have to put on the afterburners and go after her.
I think Cirillo's looking for a counter-attack.
And the beautiful parry riposte, but the problem she's got, Richard, is time's running out of her. And it's Starks Faulkner holds her ground as she's doing. Okay, 1.5 meters away from the back line, but she's holding her ground.
Yeah, she wouldn't do an attack. So Cirillo's plan, she had to attack.
Yeah, she has to go for it. One away in a really great final here is Starks Faulkner, and now I think the assistant is going to call for the referee to have a look at the video for covering, and because Cirillo is already on a yellow card, if she gets another warning, it will be a point and the world title to the American. They're going to have a look at this.
Now, you say the assistant. Can you explain about hand judges?
Well, basically, you've got a judge at either end of the piece who's looking. It used to be they were just looking at the fence at the opposite end, but actually they're watching the whole fight now, and they're looking for infringements that the referee might not see because they're focused on the actual actions going on the piece. In this case, the video was looked at. The referee has come back and said they didn't feel that there was any covering at all. So at least
she got away with it.
We haven't had a world title decided on a yellow card. Well, that's not always the best thing. And another para riposte, compound riposte at the end from Starks Faulkner. She is the Category B Women's Foil World Champion of 2019. And as you say, well deserved, but what a classy final hit.
That was a really good match and a very good hit to finish it.
Beautiful compound riposte from the American. Starks Faulkner will be on the top step of the podium. We're here the American national anthem again here in Cairo.
Now, compound riposte, again, may mystify people. It's really, rather than just a one action riposte, it's when you do one feint or maybe more than one feint, but it's